Big Biz Eckelberry, CEO of Origin Oil.
Finally.
Stock symbol OOIL, originoil.com, in studio, a company we've been following for close to a year now. Electro-water separation, proprietary technology. These guys have gone from point A to point Z in a very short amount of time.
Yeah.
And they are not only a national company, they're an international company. But Riggs, I want to talk to you. We'll talk about Origin Oil as a company in a second. But this market size, when I used to be in venture capital, and that's how I kind of cut my teeth in the investment banking world. And what we looked at when we were looking at investment deals was, number one, you look at the management team. So we got that in spades.
Who's in the lunchroom?
Who's in the lunchroom? But the second thing you look at, before you look at proprietary advantage, before you look at the secret sauce, you look at the size of the market. Because if the size of the market isn't there,
Any money here?
right? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to have a big playground. Riggs, your market seems the pie keeps growing for you guys because you're going into different markets. What are you finding out about that?
Many
what can you
pies.
tell us about it?
Well, Sully, it's because we're driving SUVs.
Is that what's happening? That's what's going on?
Global warming is big business.
Yeah, regardless if you believe it or not, it doesn't matter.
It's happening.
You could be technology agnostic. You could be global warming agnostic.
Right.
But as long as people believe it, there's going to be
true.
money to be made from it, right?
Yeah.
The industry of the 21st century will be global warming.
Okay, so
No
the clean
question.
tech sector is going to be it. Is that what it's going to be?
Well, not only that, but there's a great article in Bloomberg. It's a global warming battle is over market share, not science. So science is done. Now it's about where is the money going to be won or lost.
Right.
And here, the expectations are that drought and food shortages can mean big profit.
That's
that's
good news, Ethiopia fans.
gosh.
I mean, really, if you think about this, the playground just gets larger and larger with respect to whether your plays in oil and gas or aquaculture or water cleanup.
Or fish growing.
Exactly.
Exactly right. Let's talk about Origin Oil because you're in all of those spaces. In fact, if you look at the Origin Oil website, and I invite you to go there to originoil.com, you'll see a couple of tabs there. It's the algae, oil and gas, aquaculture, and wastewater. Let's go through each one of those today, Riggs, because you started out, and I know I like to tell this story as a battle between the oil and gas play and the aquaculture play, but really you guys are everywhere, and there's no reason to think you can't be everywhere.
In fact, I'll be giving you some good news. This morning's news on aquaculture, big news. But just to take it, our original play was in algae and remains very important to us. Why? Because algae is now scaling up into biofuels. The military is very seriously helping biofuels companies scale up at market price for fuels. So once again, not only is America becoming the Saudi Arabia of fracking, but now it can start making its own green fuel, and algae is at the root of that. Now we move on to, for example, oil and gas, which we discovered we could also clean up both the frack flowback water from all those big frack jobs.
It's a tough word to, to put out.
But wait a second. But that is what. But when you talk about the frack flowback water, that has been the big controversy about fracking.
No doubt.
Is
ruining all the water.
Well, yeah. Well, we're ruining the environment when we're pulling the water out. Well, this resolves that problem.
Well, not only that, they're ruining the water. That's, of course, there's lots of debates about that.
Sure.
But one thing you know for sure is there's hundreds of trucks per day rattling through neighborhoods that are not built for that, bringing water and taking it away.
Oh, okay.
And it's ruining Pennsylvania, Ohio,
the Bakken,
the Dakotas, right? And this is happening, everywhere in the country. So if you can reuse some of that water at the site, it'll be better for the environment, and the darn trucks won't be going back and forth through the neighborhoods.
Sure. So here's my question about that. And if you consider about the size of the market for oil and gas, you consider the size of the market for aquaculture, and you consider the size of the market for algae.
Are we in San Diego?
You can't. But here's the other bit. You can't afford to ignore any one of those markets, can you?
Exactly. So how do you do it?
Yeah.
The question is focus, and in fact, you're going to see increasing wins in the area of licensing. Okay.
Yeah.
And why? Because we got to let other people play for us that are already in industry. Are we going to become a Halliburton? I don't think so. Not that, and also do aquaculture and algae. So instead, we license to people like that, and that's the game.
Yeah.
You don't have to be there.
The interesting thing about the game, so to speak, is that there is going to be. I mean, if this last year, if 2013 is any indication for you guys of what could happen, what other markets could there be? I mean, have you got? I know you can't tell me. I mean, for example. We've been talking oil and gas for the last number of weeks, and then today you got a huge press release that comes out that talks about zero impact fish farm, and we'll talk about that. I want to talk about that when we get back from the break. But I think the important thing is, are there other markets on the horizon?
Well, they're increasingly micro markets. For example, we did a deal with urban vertical farms.
Yeah.
where we're helping hydroponics. Now that's a small market. We have a partner. He'll take care of it.
Really?
And that's the deal. Yep.
So
I love this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the point of it is that you are creating a business model that's a licensing model.
Yeah.
So what happens is that there's all of this opportunity for top line revenue, and the expenditures are done.
It's a software model.
Which is crazy because you've invested the money that you're going to invest at this point.
Bingo.
I'm thinking of the future here. Rusty's No Impact Fish Farm.
Or Rusty's No Impact Tequila Factory.
Anything
which would
like
be
that.
just something.
Let's go.
Yeah, you just want to
Zero discharge. You drink it
How
all.
hard can it be to grow fish?
You
put
just-
them in the
you-
water, go grow.
You just want to basically what you want to do.
Yeah.
Let's face it, is you just want to be able to use clean energy on whatever product you're using somehow,
right.
some way, or use the
Yeah.
word sustainability. If you can do that, then you're in.
And grow fish.
Riggs Eckelberry is
It's an
with us
easy gig.
with Origin Oil. The birth of following the birth of a public company here over the last year. Origin Oil's website's originoil.com. Their stock symbol's OOIL. We're going to talk when we get back from the break. The latest press release out from the developer of electro-water separation. We'll talk about that and why it's so important that we pay attention to these different sectors that are leading us out of the recession. So we'll talk about that when we get back from the break. I'll also give you a couple of numbers, a little bit of news. And we're all set. Our new website is up, bigbizshow.com.
Oh, it's beautiful.
In fact, you'll be able to, if you're listening to us on the radio across this fine land and you want to see the TV version of what Riggs did, that'll be up on our website later this afternoon. Just go to bigbizshow.com and follow us on Twitter at BigBizRadio. Riggs Eckelberry with Origin Oil and talking about the latest at Origin Oil. Origin Oil we've followed through the last year to kind of get close to what it's like to be a publicly traded company and sort of what they do. And Riggs has been kind enough to come on the air with us on a very frequent basis to get us kind of up to speed on what goes on there, because it's not just about one model with these guys. It's about several. So we got some big news out today, Riggs, and let's talk about that. First of all, you can see the news by going to bigbizshow.com and clicking on the Origin Oil logo that we put up there for his interview today. But you can also go to originoil.com. Talk to us about you got the Zero Impact Fish Farm news.
Well, the key, Sully, is execution. If you say licensing, that's fine, but now you have to execute.
Yeah.
What we've learned is that each time we have a new application, we do a public showcase launch, and that gets it out there. And then the launch that we had, which Curtis is going to play a little B-roll, it shows us how that we had politicians there and so forth. It got high visibility, and now we're beginning to have deals come off of that.
Sure.
Why? Because it shows.
So you guys did an aquaculture showcase in Coachella Valley, and basically you show, and you had the dignitaries there, and you're basically doing a proof of concept is what you're doing. You're basically coming on out and say, look, we want to show you something, and we're going to knock your socks off. And they get out there, and indeed
serve you lunch.
And you did knock your socks, and of course you get poo-poo platter and everything else.
Oh, cool.
But the idea though is that you guys did knock their socks off, so now that creates
Deal flow.
Deal flow.
Okay, so the first deal just came off the line. A very prominent Israeli zero discharge fish farm operator. Now this is a big deal, because when let's say you do a 500-ton fish farm, 500 tons a year, which is not that big.
500 tons of fish?
A year. That's not that much. Okay.
That's a small fish farm.
That uses normally 2.5 billion gallons of water per year, right? Which with zero discharge is reduced to 500,000 gallons, i.e. a 5,000 times decrease. So that's really important.
Yeah.
In California, we have a drought. Hello?
Hello.
So water issues are huge for fish farming, and a zero discharge means that the water's not going away, but it's got to be kept clean.
Yeah.
Our technology does that. They've adopted it, and it's a big deal.
What's interesting about this, though, is you realize, I always call this the oat bran factor. Remember the oat bran factor in the 80s, where suddenly your life was going to get longer if you ate oat bran?
Right.
Once the word gets out that we're eating poopy water tilapia, once that gets out in the news, I can't imagine what that's going to do for these fish farms with respect to they're going to have to prove the guy with the cleanest water is going to sell the most fish.
How many people do I talk to who have problems with what fish do I eat? Do I eat wild fish? No, that's dirty. Do I have farm fish? No. They don't know what fish to eat anymore.
Right.
Yeah. But the point is, though, I think that once people are convinced or educated, more like,
exactly,
of what's going on. I think that's the big one.
What's organic fish category then?
That's coming down, and we are going to make organic fish possible, which is not possible today.
That's something you don't see anymore. There's no such thing as organic.
There's no such thing, of course not.
And what you're going to see is the first organic fish. What that means is that's a whole new vertical.
Yes.
In the I don't want to say health food market, but just in the whole food market.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right, Riggs, thank you so much. Riggs Eckelberry, originoil.com. There's his website right there. and of course the stock symbol double oil. Riggs, thanks so much. Can't wait to see you next week, bud. Appreciate that.
Pleasure.